Hello friends, in this AWS lab we are going to see how to configure FortiGate VMs in HA with multiple zones. So we'll take one VPC. Usually VPCs can spread across multiple zones, but we'll take only two zones in this case. So in first zone we'll create four subnets. One is outside subnet and HA management subnet and internal subnet. So similar way we'll create another four subnets in another availability zones. So we'll deploy a Fortinet firewall in availability zone 1. This is first firewall, and we'll deploy one more Fortinet firewall in second availability zone. So also if you see, these are the interfaces. One interface is in outside subnet, one interface in management, another in HA, another in internal. So like this, we'll deploy FortiGate firewalls in two availability zones for redundancy. So VMs or any Amazon workspaces, for example, can sit in internal and they can talk to internet. So this is overall architecture, guys. So let's see the subnet and interface details. So in availability zone 1, so outside internal HA management, similar way we have four subnets in availability zone 2 as well. So if you see outside, we are taking this range 10.0.0.0/24, and this is 1.0/24, 2.0/24, 3.0/24. Similar way, so in availability zone 2 also we are taking four different subnets. If you see, only the difference is here we are adding 1. So this is 10, 11, 12, 13. Here 0, 1, 2, 3. So outside interface, we are taking two IP addresses for outside interface. This is for WAN specific IP address, and this is outside interface, basic interface. So similar way, in availability zone 2 for firewall 2 also we are taking like this. So here the IP address details are 0.11, 1.11, 2.11, 3.11. Here 10.11, 11.11, 12.11, 13.11. And this is 0.0.13 is a secondary IP, and this is also secondary IP 10.13 in firewall 2. So these are the IP address and subnet details, guys. So let's jump into our AWS console now. Okay, I'm in AWS console now. So before starting this lab, let me show you one thing. This is Fortinet document library. Here we can see this document, deploying FortiGate VM active passive HA AWS between multiple jobs. So this is the document I verified, and we are going to create this lab today. So here, clearly they mentioned everything like IP address, how to configure this stuff, and we need some IAM role also. So this is a IAM role policy. So the same thing I used and I created IAM role. So and these are the details, IP address details, AZ1, AZ2, and firewall 1, firewall 2 related IP address details. So we are using the same configuration. Even the security group also we configured like this, allow all traffic. Next, we have some configuration also. This is related to firewall configuration. Once we launch these instances, we need to configure the firewalls. The same configuration we are going to use. So you can refer this document. It is very useful. So these are all the details. Even routing tables also we need. So the same way we have created this routing table, I will show you. This is the same configuration of this VMs. So this is a very helpful document, guys. Okay, so let's come back to our AWS console. Okay, so this is our AWS console. So let me show you what I configured as of now. So because to reduce the video length, I already configured VPC and subnet details, even routing table interfaces also. But I will give you overview of this. So this is VPC, network console VPC, and it is containing 10.0.0/16 subnet. Okay, so I mean in this CIDR we created multiple subnets. So these are the relevant subnets. If you see, FW1 means firewall 1, firewall 1 outside, internal, HA sync, management. These are the four subnets. Okay, so if you observe the IP address CIDRs, so this is the one. This is for outside interface of first firewall, and this is internal. This is for HA and this is for management. Similar way for firewall 2 also we have these 4 subnets. So even interfaces also I have created. I will show you those. Okay, let's go to EC2 network interfaces. Okay, these are our firewall 1, firewall 2 network interfaces. You see, let me sort out this. Okay, so these are firewall 1 interfaces, HA, internal, management and outside. So these are the relevant primary IPs. This is the secondary IP address of this outside interface. Similar way, we have IP address details for this secondary firewall. So also if you observe, so these are all AWS availability zone 1A, US East 1A. So the first firewall relevant interfaces are in 1A and second firewall relevant interfaces are in 1B availability zone. So both are in 2 different availability zones. Okay, let's check the routing tables now. Go back to VPC, route tables. So if you see, these are the 3 route tables we configured now. So let me check one by one to show you this. So this is WAN and outside the routing table. So outside the subnets are associated with this routing table. These are the routes, default route towards internet gateway, and this is local route. Next, HA and management routing table. So in this one, only management and HA sync, these 2 subnets are associated with this routing table. As we are configuring this for management also, just we configure default route towards internet gateway. And the third one is internal routing table. This is very important. And let's see, this is a subnet association. 2 internal subnets are associated with this routing table, and these are the routes. So if you see the first route, default route towards this particular ENI. This ENI is firewall 1 internal interface ENI. Okay, firewall 1 interface ENI. And once HA failover happened, like in first firewall, if it's go down. So the second firewall will take the traffic, right? So routing should be changed in that case. So this will be changed automatically as a secondary firewall's internal ENI. So the traffic will pass to the secondary firewall using the second firewall ENI. So I noted down these details actually. So if you see, this is the primary firewall's ENI which we configured now, and this is secondary firewall's internal ENI. So once failure happen, this will be changed in routing table to this one. Okay. Also during the failure case, it will change the routing table as well as it will swap the WAN IP address of this primary firewall. Means not private IP but will associate one elastic IP to this. So it will be swapped to secondary firewalls, this secondary IP address. So for these we need IAM role. So already I configured IAM role. I will show you that one as well. Click on IAM. Let's go back to roles, FortiGate test. If you see this policy, just we use the same way. I mean, whatever they mentioned in the document, the same one we configure here. So this is associated with FortiGate test roles. Okay, we'll assign this role while creating these instances. Okay. Also, we use 3 elastic IPs in this case, means 3 public IPs. So first public IP will be assigned to outside interface of first firewall, and second public IP assigned to second outside interface of second firewall, and the third one will assign it to first firewall's secondary IP. So this one, so first firewall secondary IP. Once failure happen, this will be swapped to second firewall secondary IP, so that we can access this firewall by using this WAN IP. Usually once we configure the firewalls, we can remove these 2 public IPs and we can start accessing these firewalls using management interface if you are internal already we have some machines in internal. Otherwise, we can access these firewalls using these public IPs. If we configure these IPs to our management subnets. So anyway, so this is our configuration. So these are the interface details, and these are the elastic IP details, and these are the ENI details. So let's start our configuration now. Instances, EC2 instances. No instances now, just operate launch instance W1 and search for FortiGate. So it additions some firewalls. So this is the first one. I select this one and click on subscribe on instance launch. So this is the one. Send type. Key pair already I created a key pair. So if you want, we can create new key pair also. So I created this FortiGate key pair, and so these are the network details. This is very important, guys. So let's click on edit and select this VPC. This is our VPC. First we'll configure with this outside interface of first firewall. Okay, this is the one, and I am not giving any auto assign public IP because we'll create elastic IPs and we'll assign those to relevant interfaces. Okay, yeah, nice. So let it be, no problem. Let's select the same one whatever we given, or select existing group. Let it be like this, and let's click on this advanced network configuration and select this interface here. So this is a firewall 1 outside interface. Also we need to add 3 more ENIs. Let me click on this. Just leave it as it is, because once we select the ENI, it will be auto reflect. So 2 interfaces are created now. So let me select one more, sorry, 2 more, and this is for HA now, and click on just select. The final one, this is for management. Just click on select. Okay, and we have to apply IAM role, FortiGate test. Okay, so that's it, guys. Let's start creating this launch instance. Go back to instances. Let's see if it is great, showing as running, and we do see all these IP addresses whatever we configured. If we go back to this networking tab, here you should be able to see the details. So the HA, internal, outside, and management. So this is first firewall configuration. So it is still initializing. Let's configure the another firewall also. Launch instance, firewall 2, FortiGate, copy place, select the same one, subscribe on instance launch, the same key pair. So just edit the details. In this case, this is for firewall 2 outside. Disable the public IP, select and leave it as it is for now. So let's select the interface details. This is for outside interface, and add another one. This is for internal, Just move to select here, and another one is for HA. So this is for HA, firewall to HA. Okay, and the final one, this is for management, firewall to management. So select. Okay, so in the same way we have to select IAM role. So let's select this FortiGate test. Then yeah, all good now. Just launch instance. So this is launching now. Refresh and see. So two firewalls are there. The first one is this one, and the second one, let's check the IP addresses. 13, 11, 12, 10, correct? So if you check this, firewall to management, firewall to internal, firewall to HA, firewall to outside. So if you see firewall to outside, this is the one, 10.11, but no public IPs as of now. So we are going to configure elastic IPs now. Once we configure it, we'll attach to this relevant interfaces. Then we can access these firewalls. Okay, let's configure the elastic IPs. Network security, click on elastic IPs. Allocate elastic IP address. So add tag, name. This is firewall 1. Outside IP. Allocate. So let's allocate 2 more. Firewall 2 outside, and 1 more. This is WAN interface. WAN IP. Okay, now we configured 3 elastic IP addresses. So these are the IPs. Let's associate these IPs to relevant ENIs. Okay, so the first one, firewall 1 outside interface. So let's associate this IP to firewall 1 interface, firewall 1 outside interface. This is the firewall 1 outside ENI and the primary IP address. Associate. Close this, and firewall 2 outside interface. Associated network interface, firewall to outside and to the primary IP address. Okay, so 2 IP addresses are assigned to primary interface and primary IP address of this outside interface, firewall 1 and firewall 2. Let's associate this WAN IP to primary firewall's secondary IP address. Okay, associate. This is also same outside interface of firewall 1, but to the secondary IP. Let's see all the IP address details now. So these are the relevant private IP addresses. So this is first firewall's outside interface. This is second firewall outside interface. This is first firewall's outside interface but secondary IP address. So we assign all these. So let's note down this for our reference. This is the WAN IP. Copy it now. And this is firewall 1's public IP. Okay, and this is firewall 2's public IP. Okay, so these are the 3 public IPs we assigned. Let's go back to this and check these relevant instances. Did they get public IP address reflected or not? Okay, just refresh this. See, so this is a firewall 2 IP address, public IP, and this is firewall 1's public IP. So IP address are reflected here. And for firewall 1, we should be able to see one more public IP, right, which we assign to the secondary thing. So here is the one. So this is a secondary elastic IP address associated with this firewalls form. Okay, now we can access these firewalls from internet and we can configure the remaining stuff. Okay, let's configure this firewall 1 first. Just I'm clicking on this, it will open a new window. Just click on proceed to this one because this is just certificate error. And see, here is an instruction like please log in with username admin and password is instance ID. So let's click on accept admin and copy the instance ID. So this is the instance ID of first firewall. Just copy and paste over here. For first time login, this is the thing. So it is asking us to change the password for security reason. So let's change it. So I changed the password for first firewall. Let me log in with the new password now. So this is loading. Click on begin. So save and continue. Acknowledge. Okay. And so we can do it later. Okay, so here are some instructions. So we can ignore this. So this is our first firewall's console. So if you see, this is a firewall 1 and this is a model number, serial number, and this is a dashboard of firewall. And if you go to network, and these are just dashboard details. If you go back to this network and interface details, you should be able to see these interface details. These are the IP details, and here we have access only from management, from outside interface. So we don't have any configuration on the rest of the interfaces. So we have to configure all these things. So this is first firewall. Let's log in into the second firewall as so now. Then here and open. And this is second firewall. The same way we have to log in here. This is the second firewall's instance ID. It is also important. To paste here. Okay, change the password. You need to re-log in again with the new password now. This is just message. Yeah, this is a second firewall dashboard. Okay, you see serial number is J5EB and this is ending with some different serial number. This is different serial number. So this is primary firewall, this is secondary firewall. Let me swap like this. So this is primary, this is secondary. Okay, so fine, now the firewalls are up and we can configure these firewalls now. Okay, so if you see this document, in the document they provided some configurations like HA configuration and interface specific configurations, and we have to do this VDOM exception also. So these are all the configurations we have to do it on firewalls. So let's access these firewalls through CLI and we can configure these stuff. Already copied all those configuration from that document to here, so simply I can paste these lines in this console now. Okay, so let's access this primary firewall. So username is admin and password that we configured just now, right? This is a password. Okay, I'm in primary firewall now. So this is IP address. This is the one. I'm in this primary firewall now. So let's configure this as a master firewall. Okay. So this is a configuration. Just I am copied and pasted here. That's it. So it is master now. You can see the name also here. And if you go back to here and just reload this, let's see, it will take some time, I think, but it will show as a primary. So HA enabled. So before that it was not there, right? So it is showing as HA and it is sync because only one firewall is there, so it is showing like sync. So now it is master if you see. Okay, so let's log into this secondary firewall and configure the same. Take another copy session. Copy this IP address. Open. Same one. Admin. The password which we recently configured. Okay, so I'm in secondary firewall now. So this should be configured as a slave. This is a master configuration and this is a slave configuration. So let's configure this as a slave now. Okay, this is slave. Also, so let's go back to this and see the status of this. Just refreshing now. Seems like not it. So let me reload this. So priority 1, I think this is not yet completely done. Let me copy one more time. I think until here it got copied. So let me copy paste these two lines. Okay, so now let's go back to the firewall and reload this. Okay, so once I configure this slave, allows the access. Also, I cannot access this from CLI or so GUI. And as per the documents, those suggested us to remove the public IP address of this secondary VM. And if you want, we can access this firewall using management interface. Okay, allows the control of these slave now. And I investigated this thing. So actually I observed that in HA configuration along with WAN IP, it will replace this outside interface IP also. So means it will be swap both IPs like the first this IP as well as secondary IP. So both will be swapped to secondary firewall. So that is the reason we lost the access of this now because it is being ready. So in failure case, it should be replaced with this IP. Means once it is failure on secondary firewall, this will be the outside interface IP and this will be the WAN IP. So that is what happens. So that is the reason we are unable to access this now. So what I did, even in the document, they mentioned that they asked us to remove the elastic IP address on the secondary WAN interface and secondary outside interface. So what I did, when I went to this and I released the deassociate this elastic IP from the secondary firewall. Now I am going to assign this IP to secondary firewall management interface, because I should be able to access this firewall from internet. Also this should be able to talk to internet. So that is the reason I am associating this IP to management IP address management interface of secondary firewall. So associate secondary firewall IP done. So now I should be able to access this slave. Here we go. So I am able to access this secondary firewall through the management interface. So now we have two access, primary firewall and secondary firewall. So both are so we are able to see both now. So both the firewall are online and we are able to access these interfaces. But one thing, so I'm able to access the secondary firewall with the management interface. But primary one, still I'm able to access this outside interface only. So just I would like to assign one more IP to this primary one, primary management interface. So let's allocate one more one. In the real time, usually we don't need to worry about these public IPs. We don't need to use these many public IPs, because usually we'll have access to these management interfaces through internal, and also they route this management traffic towards internet using some NAT gateways or any on-prem routers, so and so. So as this is a lab, just I'm creating using multiple public IPs. Okay, so let's allocate this and I will assign this to primary firewall management interface. Associate interface firewall 1 MNG management associate, so that I can access two firewalls using management interface, and also from management interface firewall can reach internet. So instead of this IP, let me use management interface IP. Okay, this is primary firewall management interface. So through management interface, I access this one, and this is slave secondary one. I'm able to access this. Also, one more important step we have to do. So on interface, network interface to this firewall internal interfaces, we have to uncheck this. Source and destination check should be disabled on internal interface. Let me disable this on primary firewall as well. Okay, all right guys, now we are ready. So primary firewall is this one and secondary is this one. Okay, now we are ready to test this HA. Okay, so before testing that, I will one more time I will tell you actually how we are going to test it. So here actually I created Amazon workspaces in internal subnets. So from internal subnets, we'll open this machine and we'll try to ping google.com or any public related IPs. So it will pass through primary firewall first. So once it is down, it will automatically send the traffic to this internal interface, because this relevant routing table will be changed towards this one. Also, the public interface will be changed to this one. So the traffic will pass through the secondary firewall. So if you don't know how to create Amazon workspaces, so earlier we have created a video on this, so just check that, so you will get an idea how to create workspaces and how we can use them. Okay, let's turn on this CLI here itself. So this is master CLI and this is slave CLI. Okay, so let's run these commands. Diagnose, debug, enable, diagnose, debug, application, AWSD, FN1. So this will start this diagnosis. Also we can do it on primary firewall as well. Diagnosis, debug, enable, diagnosis, debug, application, AWSD, FN1. Okay, so this is enable diagnosis, and usually we'll get some diagnosis continuously, but no need to worry about this. Let's go back to this slave and I enable this one, right? So let's see, once primary went down, what are the logs we'll get here. And also let's go back to the interfaces and I will show you routing table again. Internal routes. So this is a routing table. So currently it is sending the traffic to primary firewall. Also I have AWS, right? So workspaces. So let me open command prompt here. Put continuous ping to google.com -t. So it is continuously pinging to google.com. So let's see, go back to master. Okay, so no need of this one for now. Let's check the logs now. Forwarding logs. You see, this is our IP address. I will show you the IP as well. 10.0.171 is the IP address. 10.0.171 is our IP address. Okay, let's continuous ping this, or let's ping 8.8.8 so that easily we can identify the traffic flow. Okay, it's continuously pinging to 8.8.8. So let's search with this source. And add destination as 8.8.8. Apply. Logging is enabled for this. Should be. Yes, it is already enabled. Take some time, I think. Okay, it was showing a bit older log. Let's wait for one more second. Here we go, guys. Now we are able to see the logs. It is continuously pinging to this. Anyway, so just this is to check the logs, that's it. So let's do the actual thing. Let's go to instances. Stop this instance. Immediately go to slave and see here. HA event, and it is showing some debug lines. So if you see routing table, this one replace root of destination with this ENI. That means this root change it to this one now. Means secondary firewall internal interface. Also, if you see elastic IP address to this one, and it is changed to secondary's outside interface, and secondary's outside interface secondary IP address. It is tagged like this. It is changed completely. So let's go back here and see there is any drop. Yes, there are some drops, and now it is started again. You see, this is unreachable. This was unreachable a few minutes back, and it started again. It is reachable now to the secondary firewall. If you see the secondary firewall, just minimize here, just refresh this. It is a primary node. The slave firewall is a primary node, and traffic must be passing through this one now. Relax, traffic forwarding. It will take some time. Meanwhile, let's go back to the route table, internal interface, routes. Here we go. So this is changing now. So now the slave is primary, and the traffic is passing through this firewall now. See, this traffic is passing through this firewall. So on the primary firewall, there are no other IPs now. And if you go back to the secondary firewall, so there are all other public IPs with WAN IP. So that's it, guys. Like this, we can configure HA in AWS FortiGate firewalls. So now I'm going to test in reverse way. So now the secondary firewall is running and it is active, right? So let's make master is active now. We turn on this first. Okay, once it is started, we'll turn off the second one and we see if this is reachable. Okay, this is reachable now, but still it is showing as secondary only. So let me make it as primary and see how it works. So let me go back here and let me turn off this. If you see, now let's observe this. This is only having only one elastic IP that is assigned to our management interface, and nothing apart from that. So let's turn off this secondary firewall and see. Stop instance. Stop. So let's see. Go back here. Reload. Yes, this became primary now. Also, if you see on secondary firewall, still it is showing, but if we reload 2-3 times, this is just displaying here, but these are already assigned to the primary. Push it on secondary firewall. Here we go, guys, vanished. And if you go back to primary firewall, here we can see the IP address details. So that's it, guys. Like this, we can configure FortiGate VMs in HA mode. in AWS with multiple availability zones. Hope you learned something new today. Hope this will be useful to you in your real time. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Please subscribe, like, share and comment on this video, and your subscription gives more power to this channel. Thank you.